Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David, and today's top stories, we've got the Liberals have been doing some shady bookkeeping. We got $2.5 million of it has vanished. We've got the Palestinian protesters taking over rail yards, subways. We've got Jordan Peterson. We've got some crybaby Liberals. Let's jump into this. First up, this one from Garnet Genuous says, breaking news, contractor in Trudeau's $60 million arrive scam testifies he was only paid $500K for work on the app. But Trudeau Liberal government records say $3 million based on their sketchy record keeping. I wonder where that money went. There's more corruption, man.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bernard, the Auditor General, based on federal government records, believe that your company did $3 million worth of work on ArriveCan. You said that the work was about $500,000. This points to something we know is a big problem, shoddy and impenetrable records. In some cases, we've also dealt with deletion of records, questions, or records not kept. Do you have any reflections on how the government records that the Auditor General consulted could have been so off the mark compared to your own assessments?
So as I mentioned, you said about 500,000, and I think in the AG report they talked about there was some internal financial coding that was unsure. So we would submit timesheets with deliverables, and then what happened after that we don't really know. And they would have put whatever coding they had against it. Other than that, like, we're kind of at a loss as to what happens after we submit timesheets, right?
So you submit timesheets, there's internal financial coding that apparently is inconsistent with the timesheets you've submitted, or is unreadable to someone looking at it.
We don't see the internal coding.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But suggest that there's something very dramatic lost in translation, because it's an order of magnitude six times.
Yeah, no kidding, 6 times. At this point, why wouldn't we expect the Trudeau Liberals to be shoveling this money, our tax dollars, into another account in some offshore account for them to collect later after they get thrown out of office? I think a cabinet retreat to Whistler will help clear this misunderstanding right up. Forensic audit now. Yeah, that's what we need. We need a forensic audit. Next up, we got a clip here from conservative Mike Lake, who says 24 deficits in 25 years. That's a Trudeau's legacy.
Let's take a look at some Liberal history, if we can. Let's take a look at the Trudeau legacy, okay? The Trudeau legacy, 14 deficits in 15 years in the 70s and 80s. A Liberal government that has not run a single balanced budget yet, so that's 24 deficits in 25 years. That's the Trudeau legacy. It led to economic devastation back then. It's leading to economic devastation right now. How can anybody in the NDP or Liberal caucuses support this economic disaster unfolding?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Groundbreaking legislation to deal with the crisis that is climate change, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Does he not sound like him?
The first government that has acted meaningfully on the issue of reconciliation, lifting 2.3 million people out of poverty, hundreds of thousands of kids out of poverty, and we're going to continue.
Then he's just going to spew garbage, this little bootlicker guy. Peter Fragiskatos, or whatever you say his name. This is appalling. I mean, 24 deficits in 25. Next up, we got this clip of Jordan Peterson, who takes a good run at the word pride, used in the pride parades, the whole pride movement. This is...
Pride Month. Well, what are we celebrating? First of all, how about we don't celebrate pride? Pride's a cardinal sin. And you might say, well, they don't mean pride. They mean it's a group of oppressed people, and now they're just finding their identity and they're getting some security in that identity. And so what they mean by pride is security in that identity. It's like the word's pride. That's the word that was chosen. And it's pride in relationship, as far as I can tell, to nothing but hedonistic self-gratification. It's like your identity is going to be your sexual desire. That's your identity, your sexual desire. So that means you've reduced your identity to the most immature and hedonistic part of you, the part that would exploit someone else for your own gratification, for example, the part that would exploit you for your own gratification. And now that's your identity. And now that's what we celebrate. Yeah, no, that's a very bad idea. Pride Month. Well,
next up, we got a clip here of a woman who doesn't like the feminist movement and what it has done for women. This is a very interesting take.
Did feminists ever stop to consider that maybe some of us didn't want to leave the kitchen? I mean, I would make all the sandwiches to be able to stay home. I'd be fine with that. I don't want a man in my kitchen. I don't want him sprinkling my freshly ground salt all over the floor and step on shards of salt every time I walk in the door. Like, stay out of the kitchen. I'll stay out of the workplace. I would be fine with that. I don't want equality. I don't want somebody to pound me up and ask me if I paid the cable bill. I want to be someone's delicate flower. I want to be treated like a sweet baby angel. I want them to come home and be like, babe, did you make this? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, my love. And I'm like, I know. That's what I want. Like, equality is not it. The workplace, leave it to the men.
I believe the feminist movement was created by the Rockefellers to be able to tax more people. They wanted women to go to work. They just used the empowerment thing to get women in the workplace to have more people they could tax. That's what it was. Women were duped into leaving the kitchen and make money off them. Her inbox must be blowing up. Next up, we got Palestinian protesters across Canada trying to shut down all our major infrastructure. It is crazy. It's an absolute takeover in our country. This one here is in Union Station in Toronto. They're basically blocking the subway station. This is a Friday. This is not Saturday or Sunday. This is a Friday. Like, what is going on here? You live in Toronto. It's like one of the most expensive cities on planet Earth. How can you afford to take a Friday off? This is insane. I wonder if Canada is going to roll over and give their cities away like they did in the UK. And to think Gay Pride starts June 1st in Toronto. This is going to be an interesting month in Toronto. Real Canada needs to show up. We got another clip here. It says, shut it down. The jihadists clearly are stating their purpose to shut down Toronto. Right now, there's heavy traffic in downtown Toronto, and the T-word sympathizers are occupying Union Station, so it's another angle of this same blockade. It says they're also blocking several major intersections. Canada has offered to resettle 5,000 Palestinians and their families. Yeah. On the same topic, they're blocking the rail yard in Vancouver. This is a federal crime. I believe you can get punished 25 years in jail for doing this. But because we've got bonehead governments, especially here in BC, David Eby, I'm sure being a little lapdog for Trudeau rolled over and was just like, no, that's totally fine. Just completely block one of the most important infrastructures in Canada. We've got footage of it here. It says police attempting to clear illegal railroad blockade in East Vancouver right now.
Don't touch! Move back! Move back! Move back! Move back! Move back! Move back!
They need to just put these people in cuffs and put them in jail. I would love to see the rail yard sue these people. Like, you can't just block major infrastructure. I love that they film themselves breaking the law. Subpoenaable evidence. Where's the Emergencies Act? Yeah. Bring canine, they're afraid of dogs. It worked in Sweden. Here's another angle. Because they work for the federal government. With this said, there's other protests going on. This one blocking a rail line in Toronto. There's another one I saw in Regina. Next up, we got this. Scientists say an apocalyptic bird flu could wipe out half of humanity. Another money-making scheme here? Oh, please. And next up, we have some news on this guy. I remember Robert Pickton, that bad guy who did bad things. Well, he's gone. he was apparently attacked by a fellow inmate. Now, what's interesting about that, got this post here by Unacceptable Canadian Girl, says Robert Pickton stated on many occasions that he did not act alone. He recently stated he was planning on writing a book to name his accomplices. Shortly after he said this, he was attacked in prison. Today, he died in the hospital and he took the names of his accomplices with him. This was not an accident. We've got a Toronto man who gets his gas pedal stolen because apparently that's a thing now.
Thanks to whoever put this up. Broke into my truck, pushed this down. They crawled in here. Went over there. They took my gas pedal and they took my camera equipment. The one thing that I live off of is my camera equipment and my truck, and they took both of them from me. That's bullshit. That is some BS there, that's for sure. Why? Is it made of some sort of metal that they can sell for $20 at this the scrapyard? I swear the best idea now is to have some sort of like electrocution system in a vehicle, and once you leave the vehicle, you arm it, so someone breaks in, they'll get electrocuted grabbing onto anything in your vehicle. I think that'd be a great idea. I'm sure that's probably not legal, having some sort of live current in there. Definitely keep the criminals away. We got this post here. It says tonight's CTV global boiling map comes with the forecasted June 1st frost warning. Next up, we got some poopy pants liberals whining and complaining in committee. Posted here by Bradshaw, it says, "Oh, liberal tears, liberals have no problem saying the most hateful language about Canadians, and they even paid people to do it for them, but as soon as they get a taste of their own medicine, they bring out the tears."
The level of threats and misogyny I'm subject to both online and online and in person are such that I often fear going out in public, and that is not a sustainable or a healthy way to live. I've been verbally assaulted in the grocery store in my community with a man yelling, "F Trudeau, F you, you're going to jail for what you've done."
Mr. Chair, I want to begin by acknowledging the brave woman sitting beside me on this bench, Pam Dumoff, who has done so much to bring the issue of harassment and threats of members of parliament, particularly women, to the forefront of the conversation that is so critically important to speak about right now. And it's important because it is literally the core value of our democracy here as Canadians.
That's a load of crap. Cut out the crocodile tears. You keep voting against everything that makes things better for Canadians.
Are we able to disagree without being disagreeable? Are we going to save what democracy looks like for our younger generations coming forward? If we are not able to stop the harassment of each other in the name of partisan politics, we are not going to survive as a democracy. Our next generation is going to be completely disengaged, disenfranchised, and will have no trust in democratic institutions at all.
No, it's the Liberal Party that will have no trust, and it'll get dissolved because you fools ran it into the ground, abusing Canadians' good, honest, hardworking spirit.
And I think that this is very, very vital for us to recognize. I think the study of why we're here today is about the conduct between members of parliament. And I think that it would be great if we could provide solutions on that specifically. A couple of months ago, MP Michael Barrett had started a Facebook Live in which he had called my colleague and I corrupt, released our emails, etc.
You are corrupt. He wasn't elaborating on anything. You are corrupt. Every committee meeting, you're a disease in there, Ikra.
It's me, people calling, people emailing, on social media, etc. But there was this one lady, Peggy. She drove 2 hours to my constituency office, and she was very, very upset, asking me why I was a corrupt individual. Why am I shutting down committees? Why am I not allowing investigations to happen? Why do I think it's okay for us to XYZ? I sat down with her. We had a conversation for about half an hour. And she gave me the biggest hug when she left. And I think to me that really proves a point. When I talk about the politics of agitation, it is that spreading or framing an issue in a way that really does agitate people, that makes them anxious. It adds an extra layer to whatever that they're dealing with on a daily basis.
She's blaming framing? What, because Michael Barrett used a tweet or a Facebook Live or whatever? This is absolutely absurd. The problem here is you're corrupt, Ikra. That is the problem, not because he used Facebook Live.
As it is. So I think that we as members of parliament have a responsibility to be more fair in how we engage in social media.
This woman is a disaster. All these liberals are a bunch of losers. Liberal tears. You reap what you sow. Yeah, they did this to themselves and now they're playing the victim card. Next up, we've got a 93-year-old grandmother that is getting taxed to death by Trudeau. She doesn't know what she's going to do because she got a big capital gains penalty. This is unbelievable. Oh, she's the ultra wealthy, right, Trudeau? She's got to pay a little bit more to make things fair.
And I said, why should I pay capital gain? You know, I'm not selling it to them. I'm gifting it to them.
One lot has a hydro tower on it and the other is partial wetlands. Still, it was valued at over $250,000. Diachin was told she must pay $40,000 in capital gains taxes.
I said, are you kidding? Are you kidding? I'm on pension. Like, how am I going to pay for that?
I think what happened here is she gave, it sounds like, her kids a piece of land and then they charge her capital gains on it. If you're going to do this, what you should do is add your kids onto that piece of land as a 1% owner of it. And then you can either just leave it, I think, and then when she passes, I think it goes over to the kids. Check with your local laws. I'm not a lawyer or whatever, but, or you can put it 50-50. I think that's how you get around paying these horrific taxes, which is just unjust. You know, it's just like when someone pays into a pension for a zillion years and when they die, that pension never gets realized. If someone dies when they're 67, they don't get those years and years and years and years of pension payments paid out to their son or their daughter. The government just takes it. It's a big corrupt system.
The government said changes to the capital gains system will only impact Canada's richest citizens.
We're making Canada's tax system more fair by ensuring that the very wealthiest pay their fair share.
Liz, are you rich?
Are you kidding me? I'm 93 years old. Like, who's going to give me a mortgage? Or who is going to give me a loan?
I'm glad she's got a good sense of humor about this. It almost seems like she's probably just not going to pay it. She doesn't give a crap. That's the vibe I got here. In the last 6 months, I've seen CRA push 3 of my buddies out of the country for randomly demanding $10,000 to $40,000 in taxes for stuff they make up on the spot. Why would young, hardworking Canadians stick around for this subpar economy working for a currency that keeps losing? I've seen a lot of CRA demands of like huge amounts of money that are not accurate in the last few months. It is quite shocking. Capital gains is a tax on inflation. Inflation is a hidden tax. That is well said. So these people are saying this isn't new. This has been here in 1972. She basically didn't know the capital gains tax law. She just thought, oh, I can give it over to my kids and it would be fine. Next up, we got this article here. Immigration from Canada to the US hits 10-year high as tens of thousands head south. So if we jump down to the graph here, this basically sums it up. We've got born in Canada is the red, blue is born in America and born elsewhere. And these are people leaving per year. So you can see it was pretty steady until something happened here. Around 75, 80,000 people per year leave Canada and it jumped to 126,000 in 2022. This has got to be higher now because Canada is so unaffordable to live in. And there's so many more opportunities in America. You make more money in America. The money's worth more in America. You can see here where people are going to, either America or other countries. And United Kingdom is the second one. You got Australia, New Zealand, France, and Italy. And jumping over to my group, let's see what kind of memes we got today. What is worse, a corrupt government that constantly violates Canadian ethics or a political party that constantly props up a corrupt government? It's time to stop this madness, yes. Jagmeet's got a plan here. He's starting to enact it. I'm going to break this down in a future video because he's planning something here. He's definitely got something in the works. Life is about perspective. You might think you're a lion, but to some people, you're a dick. Canada, Trudeau, yes, please. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, nope, nothing to see here. My work here is almost done. Yep, that's basically it. He is trying to destroy our country as best as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if Trudeau changed or tried to change the Canadian flag to this. Northern lights are caused by climate change. Yeah. I would buy this anger pillow. Yes, I would. When you demand that the Liberal government remove GST off home heating, but you voted for a triple carbon tax, you might be an F-tard. Well, it's been almost 9 years and the budget didn't balance itself, so we're taxing the hell out of you. Yeah, we know. I will take you to our leader if you take him with you. Science fact, a dog gets more factual information from sniffing another dog's butt than a human does from watching CNN. Hold on a minute, I'm downloading some liberal opinions. Well, that's where we're going to wrap up this one. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the Palestinian protesters just occupying and taking over our major infrastructure, transportation routes, the rail yard subways. I think the police need to deal with this and deal with it quickly. This needs to stop. Canada didn't have rampant protests before. We didn't have all these things going on. Unfortunately, the Liberals are corrupt and weak and won't do anything about it, so we'll have to wait until Poilievre gets in to fix this stuff. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. I greatly appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, notification bell, all that stuff. We'll keep fighting for freedom. We're getting closer to getting Trudeau out. I'll see you guys in the next one.